Welcome to Sunfire Designs. Today I am going to attempt to recreate my Happy Accident coasters. And if you aren't sure what those look like, let me show you. Sorry, I had to run and grab one because I didn't plan on saying that. This is what they look like right here. So, and I don't have the best lighting here today, so sorry. Hopefully this will work. So this is what they look like. They look really cool. And this is what happens is after I do a dragon flower pour, I take all my leftover resin and I put it into one of these round coasters. And I've had a couple of them that have come out really, really cool. So I thought, well, why don't I try to recreate that? So I don't know if it'll work or not. It might be a total disaster, but here goes nothing. All right, so what I have done is I have taken just a mishmash of colors, kind of like what I would have if I were finished making a dragon flower. So I've got some deep red, okay, and all of these, the dark colors were made with Let's Resin pigment paste. So that was red and black. This one is purple and black. And this one is blue and black, okay? And they're all dark, but still transparent. And I do apologize about the lighting. I'm working in a slightly different setup right now, so the lighting is kind of wonky. And then I have, for my light color, I have this kind of yellowy green that I mixed up. And then for my white, I have Cast and Craft, plus I added, and this is something I have not used before, so hopefully it doesn't throw it all the way off. I added 2 drops of copper acrylic ink, shaken up super well, just added 2 drops. So if this all works out, then I will make an official recipe for this, but I just want to try and see if I can get it to work. All right, so I'm going to start off and I'm going to take a cup and I'm going to layer my dark colors. So, because normally when it's at the end of it, I just kind of throw them in there, which is basically the same as layering, except for I don't usually have enough to do actual layering with. So that's why I'm not sure if this is going to work because I'm using more stuff than I normally do. But I won't know if I don't try, right? So I'm going to layer these in here. And it looks like it's a lot, but it's for 4 coasters. So now I meant to make a smaller amount, but it's kind of hard with the way I mixed up my resin. So I figured I would just go for it and I would see what happened. You know, maybe it'll be a mess. Maybe it'll be cool. It's fun to experiment, right? I like experimenting. The only thing I don't like is when it doesn't turn out and then I've wasted money doing it, which happens, unfortunately. But I'm just gonna dump the rest of this in here. And I know I've got more than enough resin in these, I believe, to do what I want to do. My biggest hurdle is going to be trying to make sure that I distribute them semi-evenly amongst the 4 coasters. All right, so I'm not going to stir this, but what I do want to do is I want to just take and kind of move this back and forth one time, just so it's not all just in one giant clump. So now I'm going to put these in here, put it in the coasters, just kind of swirl them around. You really only need enough to cover the bottom of the coaster, and it looks like it might be close. Might be close. Well, I can scrape some out of the other ones. It's just tough trying to figure out how much you need. I probably overdid it in the first one and then didn't put enough in the last couple. So when I'm doing it after I do a dragon flower, I usually just take what's left of my resins and do this, where I'm kind of just splattering it all around. It doesn't appear to matter that I do that though, because It's not like on the one I did that it has different spots of color. The color is all just kind of around. And yeah, so I'm gonna do this. And then what I'll do is I'll pick up the coasters and I'll move them around so that the bottom of the coaster is coated. I think I have almost the same amount. Well, the one has a lot more, but the others, they should have enough to at least cover the bottom. And like I said, every time I do it is different because it just depends on how much resin I have left and what color combinations I've got left. So hopefully that will work. Let me wipe my hands off because I have some resin on my hands. All right, so I'm just gonna take this and kind of rotate to cover the bottom on each of them, and some of them will have more than others, and that's okay as long as it covers the bottom. It's gonna do what I need it to do. At least it has in the past. Kind of wish I had not put as much in the first one, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. I don't care enough to like pour any of it out or anything. There we go. I mean, probably if I had to do it over again, I would try to make sure they all had about the same amount as this one that's in my hand. This has a good amount. It's covering the bottom, but it's not, and it's thick enough. There's no like holes in it or anything. And it wasn't hard to cover it. But I think if I had it to be the first one, it would be okay too. All right. All right, so now usually what I do next, and I'm gonna spray my hands with alcohol just to try to get some of the resin from the mess I'm making off my hands. I actually have a little bit of this from my last pour I did. I'm just gonna add this one in here. So this is usually what I do, just choop choop. And that one has green and gold, or green and copper in it. So that one's gonna look a little different than the others, which is A-okay. A-okay, it always works out. Well, I can't say that. It usually doesn't matter what colors I put in. If it's gonna work, it's gonna work. All right, so now what I need to do is I need to take a paper cup and I need to put my white / copper in it. And I'm only gonna fill it up part of the way because it's too easy to spill it if I do fill it up the whole way, and then I'll come back and I'll add the rest. So I'm gonna pour just like I would be doing for a dragon flower. And it doesn't really matter how I do it. Now this is a lot shallower than the normal coaster molds that is used for making dragon flowers, and I think that's why it turns out the way it does. And I just kind of go around, and it doesn't have to be neat. It just, you just go around and you make it kind of like the same pattern that you do for a dragon flower. And ta-da! Sorry this takes me a minute to do. I know it's probably not super exciting to watch, especially once I've done one, but it's a lot easier to mix up resin for 4 than it was to mix it up for just 1, which is why I'm doing 4. I didn't really have anything else I wanted to use it for. Now, one thing you'll notice is that unlike the dragon flower, this doesn't really move. Once you've poured it, it just is kind of, it's moving a little bit, but it's not sucking in towards the middle like it does for a dragon flower. And that is because it is not as deep. So let's go. I'm going to empty the rest of this in here. And you'll notice I did not pour in any of the clear to start off. I just went directly for pouring this in. Because usually I don't have enough clear to do that. I run low on that. That's the one I usually have the least amount of. So I usually just save it for the last part, the end. Tomorrow I am going to get a new torch. This is bugging me. I have like a couple different ones and neither of them are working. And I can't find the one my son has. So, all right, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to do it one more time around the edge. And go edge to edge usually. And this looks like a lot of white / whatever, and it is, but that's okay. It ends up, I think it ends up being almost like a dragon scale because it ends up sinking to the bottom and making those really cool marks. Not that I've ever made a dragon scale that has turned out, so I could be wrong, but that's my thought. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just playing around. One more to go. If I run out, I do have a little bit of extra blue from the last thing I did, which hopefully turns out and ends up being on the channel. All right, so now that I've done that, used it all up, I am going to add this green clear. I'm gonna go try to do it evenly so I don't screw it up like I did the first one, but I'm just gonna kind of pour it in fast. They're not gonna have equal amounts, and that's okay because it is what it is. As usual, this poor little last one got the short end of the stick, but that's okay. Now these are kind of some weird color combinations. Hopefully they don't turn disgusting, but they never have in the past. I've usually had really good luck with them not, if they're not making something beautiful, they're at least not making something ugly. So I'm hoping that these don't turn gross on me. If they do, you'll never see them. Just kidding. All right, so now I'm just gonna add some black stones to the inside for the center, just a little bit. I don't need a lot. I'm just gonna take one little scoop. And I know that they're going everywhere, and I will move them to go where they need to go in just a sec. Okay. Now I'm gonna take my stick and try not to fling it around and just kind of move them to the center. And the resin is not super deep, so they're not gonna be way buried down, you know, in the center. I just wanna try to make sure there's enough resin to cover them. Spread them out a little if I have to. And this is another one where you're not gonna see the resin moving, but I'll come in tomorrow and it'll totally look different. And I'll show you in just a second what the back of the one I just did looks like, so you can see what it looks like. It does look like a fairy flower or a dragon flower that's been done in deeper resin, but obviously it has not been. All right, I think that's as good as it's gonna get. All right, I'm gonna have to find a way to get rid of those bubbles. I'll see, maybe I might get my heat gun out, but probably not. I'm probably just gonna keep messing with my torch and try to get it to work. All right, so on the back of this one that I did earlier, this is what it looks like. It looks like this. So everything kind of came to the center, and you got the little lines. And then I think what happens is it just, because it has nowhere to go, it sinks down and makes these really cool little blobs. And it comes out so cool. I thought this came out so awesome. So fingers crossed this works. We will not know until we go to unmold it tomorrow. I'm gonna let this sit here and cure, and I will see you guys when it's time. Later. Okay, we're back. Are we ready to see what we've got? I hope that things stayed centered, because it looks like they kind of drifted a little bit, but we'll see. All right, here we go. And remember, they might not all look the same. They might look totally different. Let's just do this really fast so that we can just flip them all over. Got a little thing I need to trim there. I'll do that after. Okay. All right, let's start with this one. Move these out of the way. Oh, that came out so cool. Wow, I'm so happy I was able to recreate it. Yay! All right, let's try this one. So cool. I'm so excited. You can just barely see the green in the middle. And then it's blue and purple and pink. And there's this one is the one you can see I use the copper. And I don't know if you can see, but there's like little tiny specks of copper throughout it. Very, very tiny, just enough to give it a little bit of a glitter. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. Oh, they all came out different. These ones kind of look like bones. That was the first thing I noticed on that one, is that they look like bones. But each one is slightly different, but they're all kind of the same. So it's just, I'm so excited that these all came out so well. I'm going to go take some pictures. I think this one I did a little bigger of a swirl of white in the middle, but I'm not even mad. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, I think this one's my favorite one. All right, so I'm going to go take some pictures, and then I can post this video. So let me know what you think. And if you decide to give it a try, I'd love to see a picture. Share it in the comments with me. And thanks for joining me for this. I will see you next time. Bye.